town has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Hey everyone, happy Thursday night, happy end of July. We are here at the historic and very haunted historic Scott County Jail, hoping very soon to be in the garage. As you know, I moved a little bit earlier this year and we're trying to get everything ready with new studios set up and everything. But for now, we're here at the jail, and of course, you never know what might happen. So definitely be watching, be listening, because you never know what kind of things you might see and hear while we're doing this here at the jail. But we are live here on the Ghost Biker Garage, here on the Ghost Biker Explorations YouTube channel, Facebook page, and also Parapost International. And I'm your host, the Ghost Biker. And of course, you'll probably see my lovely little co-host, Sally. She always likes to make an appearance at some point during the show. So we'll just kind of see. She's watching the door for me right now. But thank you guys so much. Say hello to a couple folks who are over here in the chat room. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hello to my business partner, Dr. Christy Sumner, and from Miss Janet Alm out in Arizona. Thank you all so much for watching. I know we've got some other folks on there, but it doesn't show me who you are. So if you have a comment or a question tonight during the show, if you don't mind, on the questions, please just put those in all caps and we'll make sure that we get to them whenever we have tonight's guest on there. But I do want to talk about a few different things that we've got going on. Here we are, we're wrapping up the month of July. Last week's show was phenomenal. I had the lovely Miss Jessie Ann York, who is a horror writer, and she was on there talking about, we had a very good conversation about tulpas and really kind of the psychology behind hauntings and the whole horror genre. And it was just a very interesting conversation. I got a lot of great comments and a lot of great feedback from that show. So if you missed it, go back and check it out. It was a very good show. Hello to Miss Nancy Weems from all the way down in Florida, and Mr. Tony from up there in Maryland, and Ronnie Anderson from there in Virginia. So thank you all again so much for tuning in. And I'm glad you've enjoyed watching the show. We've got some great guests coming up here during the month of August that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But again, I'd like to go ahead and kind of talk about a few really cool things that are coming up that I know some of you over here in the chat room are actually involved in. So the next big event that we've got going on is the Deep South Paracomic-Con, and this is the second annual one, and it's going to be taking place in Ozark, Alabama. It's going to be on August 19th and 20th. This was a lot of fun to be involved with last year, and I love the variety. I mean, we had everything from paranormal, cryptids, cosplay, a lot of different folks in a lot of different genres of the paranormal, equipment makers. We had so many people that was there talking about their craft, what they do, their investigations, their content that they create. And so it's just a great place for that. Stan Fikes does an amazing job of putting this event on. And so he and his team are working really hard to bring this event. So you can find all of this information there on, and you can still get tickets for it, because I know you can get them at the door. They've got lots of different packages, but if you want to be involved in the investigation, the panels, and all the different things that I think they've even got an escape room. If you want to be involved with all of that, go to the website, look at the packages that they have. And I believe that the funds for this goes to the Ozark Boys and Girls Club portion of the funds. So it's definitely a great cause. Go on, check it out. DeepSouthParacomic-Con.com. And I'm going to go ahead, put that comment here in the section right here, and then that way you guys can just quick link to it. We'll pull it up on the screen here. Definitely want to go and check that out. Another one that I want to make sure to promote, because the cause of this is fantastic, and it also kind of relates to my guest that I have on the show tonight. Let me get it pulled up here. It is the Spirits of Deadwood. And if you watched last week's show, you heard me talk about this. This is going to be a fantastic paranormal event, and the funds for this goes to the Sacred Mountain Retreat Center, which, if you watch the show, we love our veterans, and coming from a family of veterans, this is something that is just a fantastic cause. And so we're gonna talk about this a little bit further and what they do. But this event takes place September 29th and 30th, and there are lots of different packages that that you can purchase for this event. I will pull that up here in just a second, but I'm very honored to be invited to be a part of this. It's something you don't want to miss, especially if you're out in the area. If you're not in the area of Deadwood, South Dakota, then you need to get out there, because this is an event that you don't want to miss. Let me go ahead and pull up the information here. Here we go. So there are a lot of different event packages on this. There is a general admission package, and they've done a really good job of breaking up into individual, 2 people, VIP individual, and VIP 4 people. And so these prices they do a good job of breaking it down, what they include. The individual, $75 for the Saturday night investigation at 3 locations. I mean, these locations are phenomenal, active locations. And then the other prices is Friday and Saturday night hotel package, and it's dinner, investigation at the 3 locations, and then the VIP package includes the hotel package. So, again, we'll talk a little bit more about that as the event gets closer, but you can find this information on sacredmountainretreat.org. And I'm going to go ahead, do like I did on the other one, put that information over here in the comment section for a very quick link right here. But I'm going to pull that up on the screen so you can find all of that at sacredmountainretreat.org. And it's under the fundraising events, under paranormal event. I mean, it couldn't get much easier than that. So like I said, we got a whole lot going on coming up. We've got a lot of different things coming up here in the fall. Just got off the phone with Harley Davidson, and actually Wildcat Harley Davidson to be exact, and London Laurel County Tourism Commission, Miss Kelly. We had them on the show last year, and last year we had the first annual Ghost Biker event weekend, and that took place in London, Kentucky, and it was a full weekend. It included a motorcycle ride as well as a paranormal investigation and a cave tour. So this year we've been working hard to get this organized. I know that David Anderson and several folks that follow the show, they did the event last year, did the motorcycle ride, and I tell you, we had a hell of a time on that motorcycle event, as well as during the paranormal investigation. So we're working this year. It's going to be about a 4-hour motorcycle ride that's going to take place on Sunday. This event is going to be October 14th and 15th. And so let me just kind of break it down real quick. We do have more information coming. We're trying to get the ticket links and everything set up, the advertising. All that's going to come out next week. On the 14th, we're going to have a Ghost Biker meet and greet at Wildcat Harley Davidson from 1 to 3. And then that evening, we're going to have dinner and an investigation at an undisclosed location. Can't say much about it right now, but other than the fact that this is a location that is not generally open to the public. It is only open to the public on select dates where they do tours, and it's also only available to us as a paranormal location. It has never been investigated before. So we're really excited about this, and not sure how much we can say as we're leading up to the event, but it's definitely somewhere unique that you're definitely going to want to investigate. And then on Sunday, the motorcycle ride, we're trying to do something really special. The fall foliage in Kentucky in October is just, it is unlike anything else except for here in Tennessee. But it's going to be a 4-hour motorcycle ride, and we're going to go to a very historic and very cool location. Be a little bit different than last year. Last year we stopped at a bunch of destinations. This year it's going to be more of a motorcycle ride, and then one final destination at the end. It will not be paranormal, but there are different stories associated with stops or with places along the ride. So we'll have more information about that, but that will be October 14th and 15th. And all the funds raised to this, every bit of the funds, goes to the London Laurel Shop with a Cop program. The only thing, I get anything out of is the sale of my merchandise, but otherwise, every bit of that. And we are going to have a link where if you can't make the event, you can donate to that. Shop with a Cop program here in rural Appalachia is something that is extremely important for our kids. And so I know we benefit from it here in East Tennessee with our local Shop with a Cop program, but sometimes this is the only presence that these kids get. So it's just an exceptional program that I'm super proud to support. So again, more information about all that coming up, plus filming for season 6. Our season 6 is going to come out the first weekend October. So we're working really hard to get that put together. But I want to go ahead and get to tonight's guest. Thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me through our announcements and stuff here. But tonight's guest, let me actually get to my screen here. I'm going all over the map here with everything we got going on. But tonight's guest is a very special guest. I'm so excited that he's going to be able to come on and talk to us tonight. He's known as the paranormal mad scientist, and he uses advancements in technology to build better paranormal research equipment that pushes the envelope. Mr. K.D.Stafford, he has built ghost helmets that allow everyday people to heighten their sixth sense, and also built advanced Skyrim mirrors that use LED lights to see spirits, and the most advanced ghost boxes on the market. These ghost boxes are not only, they're not only functional and just really, really great equipment tools, but they're also so badass and cool to see. So I did get to see some of those when we met out in South Carolina. So we'll be talking about those here in a few minutes. But Stafford is also a U.S. Army veteran with nearly 8 years in the service as a combat equipment technician and non-commissioned officer. In the Army, he was exposed to maintaining mechanical and electronic systems in high-tech combat vehicles, and he found an interest in electronics and microcomputers. Stafford's passion for the paranormal began in his early childhood, and he has always loved investigating and studying unusual occurrences. Stafford is now on a mission to use technology to find answers to the spooky and unexplained. So if you will, please help me and welcome Mr. K.D.Stafford.
Hey.
Hey, K.D., how are you?
Hey, that was really good. I like the second part.
Oh,
Who wrote
thank you.
That? You wrote that? That's good. Except for is that there's the one typo that keeps following me around through all my bios is the Skyrim mirror. It was supposed to be scrying mirror.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
I know. It's like, oh, Skyrim was a good game, bro, but you didn't do it. No. It's fine, though. It's not a big deal. I think it's funny now. At the time, I was like, oh, my God, people are going to think I'm an idiot because, Skyrim mirror. Well, what is this, video game? But no. Anyways.
That's what I was thought, what I thought it was like some kind of cool technology that you've created here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've developed the ability to transport into a video game, specifically Skyrim.
There you go.
Elder Scrolls. So,
well, first off, two things. Thank you for coming on tonight, and also thank you for your service. We love having veterans here on the show, and seems like this year that's what the majority of our guests have been is military veterans, and I absolutely love it.
We are a likable bunch. What do you?
You are, and personally, I feel like it lends such a cool credibility to the paranormal field because you all are out there seeing and doing things that the normal civilian is not doing, and you do lend this bit of credibility of things that because some of the stories that come out of folks, from their bases they've been stationed at or what they've seen while they're out in the field is just incredible. And how can you dispute that coming from military folks?
Yeah, it's I'd say the credibility scale, probably depends on, but generally, yes. You automatically have a higher level of credibility if you were in the military, in my opinion.
I think
That's not to say that everybody in the military is great people,
no.
but the majority of us are, and or were, or whatever, and yeah. So very credible.
Did
Brandon Cooper. Brandon. Well, that's not very nice of you to say, bud. Why would he say that to me? I don't know. He's so mean. You see what I have to deal with.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm surprised there's not a fight breaking out between you all when y'all are together.
Yeah, Nancy, I enjoyed it. Thank you, but I enjoyed it. I'd still be in right now if they didn't tell me that I was just, hey, you're too broken and old, so you got to go. So, yeah, it's what it is.
Did you have any experiences while you were there in the military, or was the interest, because I know you said you had a lifelong interest in it. Were you investigating or anything like that before?
I
Or
wasn't
while you were there
investigating downrange. No, I was too busy personally. Yeah, I don't think busyness has a big, actually I say that, but I just never had any experiences. I bet I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Iraq is kind of like, I've always thought Iraq was cool, right? Because it was like, it's part of like where civilization came from, Babylon, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought it was cool, and it was a shame that a lot of the stuff is lost to all that. But, I never had any experiences. No. I've heard a couple cool experiences, like as far as like cryptids wise from Afghanistan,
Wow.
But yeah.
What kind of cryptids do they have in that area?
Like, not really. Just it's more like wraith-like things that are giants, sort of, that are in the mountains.
Okay.
It's I don't know. It's a lot of soldiers won't talk about it if they've been experienced it, but I know somebody who said they experienced something. I never personally had any experiences like that. It's generally it's not going to be in your outpost environment. It'll be like just a few guys somewhere, and they'll have this experience. These things don't tend to hang around people. Yep, sandbox. It's a big old sandbox down there too.
And so, as far as your background in the military, it's really cool how you've been able to incorporate that into your equipment building. So, kind of talk about how you got started with the equipment building and how you were able to utilize your time there in the military to make these cool products that you've got.
Camel spiders. I had to respond to that. Yes, camel spiders was definitely a supernatural occurrence in Iraq. Also, they have these things called, oh God, what are they called? Mole crickets. They're like giant, demonic looking, cricket looking things, right? And they fly, which is even more terrifying, at night. And they come out at night. So
it just
gets
worse and worse.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's a God forbidden place. It was beautiful, but no.
Nancy says, did it snow while you were there?
It did. It snowed when I was in Baghdad. I was telling somebody that just the other day. When I got to Baghdad in November, I think it was November. It was towards the end of November, I think. It was freaking snowing in Baghdad. I spent Christmas in Baghdad. Actually, it was 1st of December. I think first week or second week of December.
Wow.
It was snowing. It was weird. It didn't like stick. We didn't have a bunch pile up, but yeah, it was a lot colder than I thought it was going to be in Iraq.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's talk about your equipment.
Yes, equipment. Sorry, I just called the camel spider thing.
You're fine.
Okay.
Yep. So
what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so let's talk about your equipment and how you got started building equipment and utilized your military background, your mechanics to do this.
Well, I just kind of I never thought about applying it. I mean, okay, when I was in the military, I knew like about halfway through, I think, my service or whatever, that I wanted to like check out, look into the paranormal a little bit deeper. And and me and my wife had been traveling, all over Europe, seeing all this old stuff and having these cool experiences. And we wanted to take it further. So whenever we found out that I was getting out in 2013-ish, late 2013-ish, we just we said, okay, well, we'll start we'll start putting more into the paranormal side. So I had been working on trucks and some of the newer combat vehicles downrange, and so I had gotten into the way I could control them with a computer sitting outside the truck. I could do everything, make the truck do everything, and that kind of got to me. And then I got into the coding of that a little bit, and I don't know, I don't program. I know enough just to get me in trouble. That's about it. But I thought all that was really cool. And then when I started investigating, I realized how expensive a lot of the equipment was. And I was like, man, this is simple. A lot of this, not all of it, a lot of this is like simple, like meter type things, right? So I was like, I could probably make a meter. So I started making meters and stuff, and then I never really got into using ghost boxes or anything until I started. I think I started with an SB7, and I got a couple of the clearest responses that I've ever got, even to this day. Not just clear, like super valid, on point.
Wow.
Like intelligent, obviously intelligent. Like when you present something you can't see with a multiple choice question and have them answer it over a radio, it's like that's a pretty crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
And so after all that, I got more interested in ghost boxes, so I started dabbling in in that technology, studying Frank Sumption's work. The guy who built the first ghost box, really modern ghost box. So that's Frank Sumption, Frank's box, right? So I kind of modeled my work after him, I think. And I had a good friend of mine, Doug, who taught me a lot of stuff and about building analog circuitry, right? And so then I started designing my own circuits, and it just kind of went from there, So ITC is kind of like my main thing that I do. So ghost boxes are pretty, it's an audio thing. It's I feel like it's cooler than, in my opinion, for what I do, for the type of work that I do. It's better than binary responses, right? So like ones and zeros, that's it. So it's yeses or nos, like light this up for yes or don't for no or whatever. So you can only get so far with that until you're injecting your own questions, yes or no questions, and it's like
Absolutely. And so can you explain, most of the folks in here are paranormal investigators, but we have quite a few who aren't. Can you explain the theory behind spirit boxes and ghost boxes as to how this communication is taking place?
Well, there's several, I feel like there's several different ways you could interpret, or ways you could explain what we're getting. And neither like explanation has to be the only explanation.
Right.
There could be multiple ways that these things are able to communicate through these devices. But for a ghost box, for example, so however, I don't pretend to understand the inner workings or the mechanics of the supernatural world, right? But however, through whatever mechanics they're able to, some people believe that these unseen things that we're communicating with are able to either like ride the airwaves and project their voice through this radio frequency, or another way that people think that communication happens is by taking the sounds, like these spirits somehow are able to manipulate the sounds that are coming out of the ghost box and form them together to create responses. So that's another possibility, I guess. And these different possibilities could be based on like I said, both could be right. You
Mhm.
know, it could be that could be determined by what type of being is communicating through the radio. Also, there may be multiple types of supernatural beings that have the ability to communicate through radio waves,
Mhm.
but it's just different.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to explain when you get these relevant and validating responses. I know I did one last season where I'd gone into a jail and I had a spirit box, and then I also had a Ovilus 5, and so I didn't say what I was holding up. And I picked up a paintbrush because one of the spirits in there who had escaped, he was an artist, and so he was, a very prolific criminal. And so, anyways, I held it up, and on both the spirit box as well as the Ovilus, first was on the spirit box. When I hold it up, I said, "Can you tell me what I'm holding in my hand? And if you can tell me, you can have it." And the first thing it said was paintbrush.
Mhm.
And then it said mine, and it was the same voice anytime I was directing communication to this specific spirit.
Right.
And then I did it again in a different spot, held up the paintbrush, and the first thing said paint. And so I didn't mention it, and you know how these are. It's coming over the radio. It's really hard for me. It's really hard to explain how that happens when you're not when you're not saying, or when there's no way other than an intelligent and very aware entity.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, and when it happens multiple times, also in the same setting,
Hmm.
and then regularly. Sorry, I'm trying to curb my country accent. Regularly happens at that location.
Hmm.
Uh, you can't. I can't deny it. I can't pretend that it's not. It couldn't be actual communication from something, and I get a lot of stuff through the ghost box, and a lot of it's maybe, but then a lot of it is that's on point, and so
Yeah.
yeah, it keeps me coming back. Um, yeah, yeah. So also I apologize. I didn't explain the way the ghost box actually works for the non paranormal people, but you basically take a radio and you break it, and you make it, just instead of sitting on one station, you make it sweep all the way from the bottom station to the top station in some fashion. It could be from the bottom to the top over and over and over again, just that bottom to top, and it starts back at the bottom, goes to the top. Or it could be like a lot of my boxes are, which starts at the bottom, goes to the top, goes back to the bottom, back to the top. It's like a back and forth. Um, then there's the SB7, which kind of you can change whether you go up or down in the station tuning. You can change the speed. My boxes, you can change the speed too. Something unique about that a lot of my boxes have that a lot don't is the shortwave
Oh.
bands. So the shortwave bands are cool. There's not a lot usually on shortwave bands. Depends on where you're at. So the majority of what you get is static, but
Mhm.
then you get a lot of good responses in that static.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I like shortwave, and that's one reason why I like that bigger one in the back. Looks like the '80s boombox on the left.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one, that's the ink box, original ink box, and that's probably my favorite one. It's got tape cassette recorder on, man. Come on, can't go wrong.
Right. I mean,
Can't go wrong.
you can't get tape recorders anywhere now. Seems like cars
No,
don't
no,
have them.
no. They're making a comeback. They're making a
Oh,
comeback. They're making a comeback. But and that those ones are our new radios. They're just retro boom boxes, right?
gotcha.
So yeah, yeah. So they're meant to actually record uh whatever you want, right, on a cassette, or to actually take old cassettes that you have and to take the audio from those and to put it on an SD card. So that original ink box back there is kind of SD card slot in the front.
Yeah.
And you can put your SD card in there, and then you can record your EVPs and stuff. You could do an EVP session with it on the cassette, and then you could record that down onto the SD card, and then you have your cassette tape recorded EVP session on an SD card, and you just load it in your computer or whatever. So
you could actually technically, will it record the SD and the cassette at the same time? Sorry, Sally.
Well, no, it won't record directly onto the SD.
Okay.
That's the only part that sucks, but it will record. I think it's kind of cool that you just get the cassette. Otherwise, you might as well use a digital recorder.
Yeah.
Well, no,
that's cool, because that seems like it would take it to a whole new level when you start looking at people, because I know several people, and I've done it myself, that use little mini cassettes to record. And when you start looking, sometimes you can get different things on a cassette versus on the little digital recorders. That's really cool that you can do that with that. It almost takes that to just a whole other level in and of itself.
It does. A lot of people don't realize that. I probably don't advertise that feature as much, but yeah, that's the two main reasons I have those. I carried that original 8-bots around everywhere I go, is because the cassette recorder and the shortwave ability on it, and also because I made it. So
I love that, and they're badass, beautiful boxes.
Thank you.
I mean, you can't beat the 80s. So
you can't. You cannot beat the 80s. People, they're still copying it today. So there you go.
Yes. All the movies, the music, everything goes
Cartoons,
back.
everything, the clothes, like you name it.
Yeah.
All the stuff that all these kids enjoy today, it's all based in the 80s, baby.
It is. I'm so glad to be an 80s baby myself.
Me too. Me too.
So we've got some different questions here, and I'm trying to kind of block out these bots. It looks like there's some bots that have tried to intrude on here, but yeah, just want to bring up a couple of these comments.
AI, man.
Yeah, Deb says, I have one of KD's ghost boxes. Hope to get more opportunities to use it at different locations.
Thank you, Deb.
And Kim Brady says, I got a few great responses on one of your boxes at Trans Allegheny in June. I bought the box. That was KD's.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was KD's. Oh, that one's got KD's probably put some kind of spell on it or something. Ain't no telling.
Nice. And then Brandon says, KD, do you also tie in the metaphysical into your ink box? Sure.
Into the ink box, yeah. Well, so my circuit boards, I designed I said earlier that I design them all in circuits, right? So I actually custom designed my circuit boards, and I send off and I have them made, and I have them sent to me.
Nice.
And that's what one of my circuit boards I'm working on right now looks like. So, and you see all the little holes. That's where all the components will go and stuff. But yeah, that's like a seal of Solomon seal. But yeah, there's a little bit of metaphysical voodoo in my stuff.
Masonic in that one, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, well, it makes sense. Maybe a little bit of that in the Masons, actually. So yeah. I think that's probably more the case.
Yeah, I love that.
This is older. All this symbology here is like from way before that. But yeah, it's all tied together with the sacred geometry stuff. So.
Yeah, well, and something that you mentioned that really kind of stuck with me when you were talking about you get some relevant responses and some not. I think that's one of the things that's so beautiful about the Spirit Box and ITC. I think you've got to have the responses that may not quite be on point to really, I think that really validates the time that you do get these responses that are relevant and on point and intelligent. If it worked 100% of the time, I think it might be kind of hard to really validate that.
I think it would be, if it worked all the time, then, we would have a lot of things figured out. Right. So like, no, and I believe that's part of the barrier to the supernatural world is like the inability to figure it out. Like nobody will ever figure this one out completely anyway. But there's little tricks, and I think there might be people on the other side who help facilitate communication. That's a pretty common belief with ITC based type people, that especially like ghost box builders. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
Yeah, especially with like ghost box builders and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ronnie says,
Hold on,
I have a.
sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I think it changed your speaker settings when that called.
It did.
Okay, yeah, we're sounding good
Okay,
again.
there we go.
Ronnie says I have a mini analog recorder, but the mini tapes are expensive. I run into that same problem myself, and you just don't get the amount of time. I think it's like digital cameras and digital recorders. You get not necessarily unlimited, but I mean it feels unlimited when you're doing like say a 12-hour investigation, but nothing
You have a
really.
relatively unlimited amount of time, when it comes to recorders and stuff like that. Like with digital recorders, right? Like
Yeah,
you were saying. No, yeah, with cassettes though, yeah, you get 120 minutes.
yeah.
You get 60 and 60. I don't use the minis anymore. I mean, I have a couple mini cassette recorders, but I use regular cassette tapes, and the Inkbox does. And yeah.
Have you ever had in your experience, have you had where you've captured something like had two recorders going at once, one being a cassette and one being a regular, and you actually got something, and I'm not talking artifacts or anything like that, but something that you could actually validate as it picked up on this, but did not pick up on this?
Um, there's a lot of sounds that you get, and I think the artifacts, there may be stuff in some of those artifacts. It's hard to say, but the sound quality, or not necessarily quality, the the type of sound that you get on a cassette recording is definitely way different. So you will get a lot of different artifacts. So they're not the same. It's but I've never gotten anything that just jumps out at me on one versus the other. I like digital recorders too. I'm not big on using the fancy new
Yeah.
digital recorders. And I have several of them, but it's like we've perfected the technology too much. I think
Mhm.
that's where a lot of the we used to get a lot of the communication is in the artifacts and stuff that you didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
So
Well, we tend to see that with when it comes to like listening with noise canceling headphones. That technology is really cool, but I can't, the only time I use them is when I'm doing an Estes method, because when I go to listen to my digital recorders or even audio or video recorders, it seems like if I'm listening with noise canceling headphones, that sound they're popping in to cancel it out cuts out some of that fine noise that could be
uh,
a voice.
yeah, and it's one thing if it's like in the let's say the DR60, for example. It's a really cool little recorder. I think it's fun to use them. I think it's cool. You definitely get a lot of good stuff, and nobody can really point out why you get more stuff off of the DR60s. There's a lot of reasons that probably factor in. There's probably several things that all go together.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people that's done some pretty extensive research on the DR60s and like looked into the schematics and everything. But I think that turn of that change of the technology, from the analog to the digital at that time, in that time frame, that uh, produced a lot of special digital recorders, I think. So I mean, I buy all kinds of crazy stuff, man. Like I buy old like digital answering machines. Like from the early 90s and stuff, I'd be like, oh man, I bet that sounds freaking crazy. And like the only thing you can do is record like a memo or, your message for your answer machine. But yeah, it does sound crazy, man. And I've messed with the boards, and I've done things like attached coils to like separate coils, like wired onto the microphones for these old recorders. And you can get some pretty crazy stuff messing with those old electronics, and it's just so right there and unshielded. And I think that's the main reason why the DR60 produces such interesting sounds. So, but I think, aside from the DR60, which is ridiculously inflated on the price of how much people want for them, I get it, they're rare, whatever. But contrary to that, you can just go buy cheap, random, like the old weirdest looking digital recorders you could possibly find, and try those, and you'll get a lot of interesting sounds. Could be responses, just saying,
Right.
through those old crappy recorders.
Right. And I'm sorry, this cat
Hey,
keeps
Sally.
wanting to cross through. Sally, go on through. Now she's going to just sit down.
Sally. So I'll start saying her name.
She'll be looking around here in a minute. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm always fascinated when people ask what type of camera you use, what type of recorder you use. And I'm like you, I use a variety, and I just love a good, simple, old school digital recorder.
Yeah, I do too when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Like a basic digital recorder. I have like the Zoom recorders and all that stuff. I don't use them because they're, it's just like it's too crisp, it's too clean, it's too good.
The only time I use my Zoom, and I had actually bought it because they've got the different mics on them, and I had bought it to go in and try at different locations. But the only time I use it is when I'm filming my intro, and I need to have that crisp, just me
voiceover.
Talking. Yeah, absolutely, voiceovers, and also just
record your audio though. That's good to do that with though while you're filming. It's good to use a recorder.
It is, because
and have a little lave mic or something on there. Yeah, you can't beat that. That way you always got really clear what you said.
Yeah, and
I learned that.
I do it separate, from when I'm and connect my audio with my video.
Yeah, you just lay it over in the in editing. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, and I found that was the best way to do it, because when you go in and balance, because you can balance all of your sounds and everything, and that just makes it, when you're in a location, I mean, there's so much to account for, especially with like my goodness, some of these old jails and some of these old prisons and stuff that's got the echoey acoustics. I mean, you would constantly be balancing if you wanted to try to get the true sound from it. And that would be hard to do because you're literally cutting stuff out where it's so crisp.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's one reason why I do like that low fidelity kind of cassette recorder type audio that you get on a cassette tape,
Yeah, for sure. Looking here at the comments, don't want to get too far behind on here. It looks like Miss Katie is on was on, and she says, "Did you tell the story about the family who had an attachment in Leibold or Lebold? I guess Leibold."
Oh no, I haven't told any stories, honey. That's my wife.
Do you have any? Can you share that story, or do you have any others that kind of come to mind?
Well, yeah, sure. I could tell that story. So there was this family that had come out to the Leibold mansion, and we were doing an event out there. It was a public investigation, and we had, I don't know, it wasn't a whole bunch. It was maybe 10 guests. It's not a huge place. We had 30 or 40 people in there before, so we get a lot in there. But so we just had everybody broke up into 2 groups, and I think I had 5 with me. And so all 5 of them actually were all this family. They were all together. And I'm just going to say their last name is Whitaker. There's tons of Whitakers out there. So, hey, Whitakers, if you're watching, awesome. So we'll call them the Whitaker family. And so we're sitting at the LeBald mansion. We're sitting in the front room, and I was just, it's just dark, and I got all this equipment. I got the cat balls all lined up and stuff, man. I got freaking REM pods. I got everything. Like, it looks like Ghost Stop threw up in the room, and I'm sitting there holding my my ink box, and it says the islands go back. And I looked over at the couple, and they were a married couple, and it was his. Okay, so there was a mom, her son, or her two sons, and one of the sons' wife. And
Okay.
the married son and his wife, they were stationed in Guam. And I thought I heard him say something about that earlier, that he was in the Air Force and they had moved up here from Guam. And so I'm sitting there holding the box, and it says the islands go back. And I'm like, the islands go back. And they didn't get it. Nobody got it in the room. I'm looking around. I'm like, nobody heard that. It said the islands go back. I said, didn't you say you were in the Air Force and you were stationed somewhere? Where were you stationed again? He goes, well, yeah, I was in Guam. And I'm like, well, yeah, Guam is the islands, man. That's the islands. Like, that's what everybody refers to it. From the islands, you say, somebody says, where are you from? You say, I'm from the islands. So that's the islands. And I said, so did you ever have any paranormal experiences in Guam? And I could barely see him, it's dark in the room, but they looked at him and his wife looked at each other, and they both just screamed, Corey. And then his mom started hollering and screaming, and his brother was, and everybody in the room was screaming, and I'm just like, oh my God, I must have hit a nerve or something. And so it turns out that Corey was their daughter's imaginary friend in Guam, and it didn't like her dad, or him, and like it said it was going to kill him and all this other stuff, so they had pretty much came to the conclusion that it was a ghost, it was some sort of thing that was following their kid around, and now they think that it's followed them back to the LeBold mansion. So
Wow.
yeah, and not only that, but like all the equipment starts going off, like, and it was crazy, right? Like all the cat balls were going off all the way around the room. The REM pods were going off. It was insane. Like I couldn't explain all the equipment just all of a sudden going off like that, unless some kind of psychic energy output from these people like set everything off. That's the only thing I could explain that. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. That was a good story, Kate.
Yeah. Wow. So let's talk a little bit about the ghost helmet.
Yes, ghost helmet.
Yeah. So first, if you don't mind, tell us what that is exactly and how that's used.
So it's basically my take on the God helmet, right? Which was built by Stanley Coren and Michael Persinger. And they built it because they theorized that that paranormal or religious experiences came from fluctuations and low level fluctuations in the Earth's natural magnetic field, right?
Mhm.
So, so they thought if that's the case, then we'll put people in a Faraday cage, walk-in Faraday cage, and we will. What's up? That's my kid. Come on in.
Sorry.
So okay, Faraday cage. So they decided they put them in a Faraday cage to block out any kind of external waves or anything or magnetic fields, and they put the helmet on them. And the helmet, they designed it to target a certain part of your brain that they believed was the center of your paranormal experiences or religious center or whatever. And then they would like bombard that part of your brain with rotating magnetic field that they were creating with coils on the helmet. And I thought that was really interesting, and the results they had were really interesting. But they were taking the approach like they wanted to like give an explanation for your religious or paranormal experiences other than it was a religious or paranormal experience. So they wanted to debunk kind of that whole side of it and just say, well, these experiences are mainly due to you being in a place where there's magnetic field fluctuations. And that's kind of one of those things. It's like that could be true, or it could be the complete opposite of that. Like you could actually be opening yourself up to experience things that you wouldn't normally experience by altering your brain wave operations, I guess you'd say, right? Or interrupting them or whatever. So, but basically what they were trying to do on a simpler scale was they were trying to make your brain mimic the frequencies that they were pumping into it using EMF. So, and not like dangerous EMF, not like ionizing cell phone EMF or anything, but cell phone, like microwave emissions. Yeah. Cell phones aren't even that bad. I mean, I don't know. That's debatable, I guess. But so I thought that was interesting, and I thought the results were interesting, but I wanted to try a different like path for it. They would always cover their people's eyes, their subjects' eyes, whenever they did the experiments, and it was so kind of a half Gansfeld.
Yeah.
So they would put ping pong balls over their eyes lots of times. That's still a really cool experiment, and I've done it. We did it on the show on Ghost of Devil's Perch, with Dave, and that was definitely a very cool addition to it. But I wanted people to wear the helmet in haunted places, not in a lab or something somewhere, but in a haunted place where there were potentially spirits about, and to see if they would have a valid experience in the location, wearing the helmet, or just what kind of experiences would they have, right? So so had lots of interesting luck with that. It took about 2 years before I had what you see on TV. If you've seen Ghost of Morgan City or Ghost Brothers Lights Out, Dalen wore the helmet on one of the episodes. Jeremy has worn it. He worn it actually on Ghost of Morgan City and on 28 Days Haunted. So Jeremy's a trooper. He's but is definitely, I thought it was that's kind of my pet experiment that I'll probably always work on, so yeah, had a lot of good luck with it though.
Do binaural beats kind of have the same, I mean, on
Well,
a
the
different
LEDs
scale?
on the LEDs on the helmet, those are basically, if you could take binaural beats and make lights out of it, that's what those are doing. They're flashing at individual frequencies in each eye, separately. So it's not just the same flash in your right eye as it is in your left eye. It's they're meant to be like binaural also. And I can actually add the binaural beat functionality to the helmet. But that, again, that kind of takes away from one of your senses.
Yeah.
Which your hearing is, well, I guess it depends on how you hear things. But if you were to hear something audible, or that your ears thought was, or your brain thought was audible, then you wouldn't have necessarily been able to hear it. So that's like covering your eyes, so anyway.
Do the people who say, if you have a person there that's wearing the ghost helmet and then a person that's sitting there that's not, is the theory behind it that the person will have a different experience that's wearing the helmet, or that maybe they'll experience the same thing and it would just be heightened or of such?
It could be the same. It's all an open question, right? Like, well, I couldn't tell you. There's any outcome would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like if you have the same experience, if anybody has an experience, the whole outcome is going to be interesting because either both people, like one person wearing the helmet and the other not,
Hmm.
they would either both have the same experience or one or the other would have the same experience, which would be an interesting result also,
Yeah.
depending on which one.
Yeah.
um, and then how relative is the experience to the location,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. And so all those things, I guess, would kind of play into that. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I know we experiment with different things here at the jail, especially with frequencies, because I absolutely love binaural beats and the effect that those have on your body, whether it be lowering blood pressure or calming, creative frequencies, that sort of thing. We even tried one time before I did a live, we played certain binaural beats for about an hour before I was going to be doing an investigation here. Just because I wanted to see not so much how does that affect on me, but on the spirit world if it changes anything. Doing a live without it, and of course, there's a lot of other factors that play in. But we had some really wild things happen, including a door being slammed there on video after playing those beats for about an hour. And another thing we even do is we'll sometimes use a frequency generator and have that going sometimes while we're asking questions at a low level. And it's been interesting. On one occasion, we ended up, as soon as we tried it, we had two different REM pods sitting in a cell and in two different cells. And as soon as we started playing the 963 frequency, one of the REM pods in one of the cells went off, and it was almost like that REM pod was trying to mimic that sound. And then directly after, the second one went off. I've never had anything like that happen. And then
Yeah.
also knocking.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Knocking is a pretty good one too, because knocking requires force,
Yeah.
right? Some sort of ability to move matter. So that's an interesting thing, right? And so yeah, the frequencies have always interested me.
Hmm.
And like infrasound, for example, is a good one. That if you have the right equipment and everything to do it right, I think that could be super effective at heightening. Okay, it's hard to explain. It's hard to say whether these are actual, like, especially in infrasound, because we know infrasound kind of causes anxiety and stuff like that too.
Hmm.
But but so it's kind of left to up to the person interpreting the experience, I guess, whether or not it's real, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't say either way. You could say, well, infrasound sometimes can cause you to see weird things and stuff, but can it cause pinpoint precision hallucinations is the question. And if it can, then why the hell hasn't it been weaponized?
Right.
That's a pretty powerful tool to be able to use. Just like sound or just EMF, just a light fluctuation of an EMF field to cause you to hallucinate. That's a pretty teal brown note.
Yeah, I mean it is weird because I know there's a certain binaural beat that I'll listen to if I can't sleep, that it works every time, and it always seems like with it and of course that's not brown tone or anything like that, but it almost gives that feeling of, I can almost feel like my body like raising or levitate. It's hard to explain, but I can feel myself going to sleep, and next thing I know, I'm out of it.
Mm.
It's a different feeling, unlike anything I've experienced when I listen to. There's two certain ones that will do that, and it's just wild.
Yeah, it's frequencies have always been a powerful thing. Like all sound frequencies have always been a powerful thing in civilization. Like just about every culture, throughout human history, we always tend to create or find places that have interesting acoustic properties that a lot of times are very similar, produce the same type of or the same resonance, same
Mhm.
frequencies, the resonant frequencies. So all that's very interesting. A lot of the tombs and stuff that they've built, even like Druid tombs and Norse tombs, and you know, obviously Egyptian tombs and stuff. A lot of these places have these strange acoustic qualities that are very similar
Wow.
to
So
other
it's
cultures. So I think this is something that has been known for a long time. That kind of got probably forgotten about uh, in the squabble to maintain existence as humans or something. Who knows, right? Like, so Dark Ages, right? Maybe that's when we
yeah,
forgot about acoustic levitation and all that stuff. We forgot about all of it, except for the Coral Castle guy. He didn't forget it.
that's right.
He built a
That's just
castle with it.
wow. That's just like going back to say all the old stuff, old becomes new. That's
I'm telling you,
classic.
it's all old, forgotten stuff, right? So
Absolutely. And let's kind of hit on real quick your Skyrim mirrors.
my Skyrim mirrors. Well, see, it all started in Elder Scrolls. It's playing a video game. No, let's go. Okay, so scrying mirrors. I haven't really done a whole lot with it. I just thought it was super cool. I mean, I
Yeah.
did build a couple of them for personal use. But I wish I had one. I wish I wasn't moving. I'd show you. But they're basically 2 and 3-way mirrors that I make. That they're like they're sort of like the infinity mirrors, but
Hmm.
they're controllable. So I use a microcontroller to control the LEDs individually, and then I create like random light patterns in the individually controlled LEDs, and that comes up in the infinity effect in the 2 3-way mirror. So you get a lot of interesting visuals with that when you're doing scrying,
And
which could
just in
also be looked at kind of as, you know, causing yourself to hallucinate. But hey, I mean, nobody said it was perfect, right? These are the tools we have. Get over it.
hey, and I mean, you never know. You never know what what is gonna give activity or give
Yes.
data. So, just in case anyone watching doesn't know what scrying is, can you kind of explain that? Because I know there's
Scry.
multiple ways of scrying.
I can give you a simple explanation of scrying. Scrying is basically you are looking into some sort of medium and trying to divine some sort of knowledge from that medium that you know that you didn't know, or you're trying to communicate with spirits or whatever, right? You're trying to reach the supernatural by focusing on a mirror, pretty much. That's the mechanics of it, anyway. And as far as the actual mechanics of this supernatural side of it, I couldn't begin to tell you, but I can tell you, you stare at a mirror for a certain point in time, or for a certain period of time, and you pick a place to stare at on it, and that's the traditional way of doing it. But with this one, you just it was just a mirror. You set it up in the dark, and you want like a light or like a low light flickering
Mhm.
source. That's where I came up with the idea for the random lights hitting. But that random or that flickering light, once you focus on it or past it, sorry, supposed to focus past that flickering light in the mirror for however long it takes until you start seeing stuff. And that's just one method. There's tons of ways to do it.
Yeah.
There's people out there probably shaking their head like, "No, you idiot!" But that's just like one simple method: is staring in a mirror. You have a candle or something like that, and yeah, it's basically in my
It's shifting
opinion, it
focus
kind of,
in a way.
yeah, it's like it's almost like meditation because you're even with your sight, because you're not closing your eyes, you're staring at a certain point, but you're not focusing on anything. So it's like it's almost like not thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
So it becomes meditation at that point, right?
Yeah. And it really is I mean, that is really a fascinating thought because I mean there are all different kinds. There's, water scrying and mirror
Mhm.
scrying and smoke scrying and that
Right.
sort of thing. I just love the open-minded approach and trying to look at things in a different light, trying different different ways of doing things because we don't know because it is such an open thing and I love that about the way you describe your equipment and design your equipment, that sort of thing. That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
And you
Yeah.
see, that all goes back to the ghost box stuff, right? So ghost boxes are basically just audible scrying mirrors. When you think about it,
Yeah.
that's what ITC is. You're looking into a medium of some sort. You're creating a randomized pattern, a medium of some
Mhm.
sort that allows something to potentially imprint itself on that and communicate with you. And that could be visual, like with a scrying mirror. And I've built like Frank Sumption built it first, but I also build them now. The video ghost boxes, the TVs that
Oh.
scan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the same type of thing, right? You're looking for some sort of image to pop up that would be valid to what you're doing. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Electronic Ouija, yes, pretty much.
I
It's pretty
like
much
that.
it.
I like that. So if people are interested in your equipment, what is the best way that they can go and find more information on it as well as purchase some of your equipment?
Well, we're working on like redoing our store page right now. You can still go to the store page, so it's supernatural.inc or yeah, supernatural.inc. Oh shit. Supernatural.inc.store. No,
Okay.
supernatural.inc.store, I think. I don't know. Brandon posted.
Yeah, if he posts it,
Why
I'll
what?
pull it up here.
Be useful, Brandon, for once.
Let's
But
see.
yeah, so that's or Facebook. You can see all of our equipment on Facebook. The photos, supernaturalinc.com, I think, is also our Facebook page. Or not our Facebook page, our website.
Yeah,
That
supernatural.
and that's it says and technology, but that's our website. So
Okay.
um,
Here we
yeah.
go. Let's pull this up. Looks like Brandon's got it out here.
Oh,
Supernatural.
damn it! I had it wrong. God.
Let's see. Let me get that pulled up here. Well, actually, I'm gonna pull that up, and if you'll just continue to talk, I'll get that pulled up
I
here.
can talk. I can talk for a long time. So what was yeah, so the ITC thing, right? That's mainly what I do. All of my stuff is, well, not all of it. We make like static detectors and stuff like that too, our little static domes. Those are very useful. But yeah, you can find most of that on our store and our Supernatural Inc. Facebook page. And if you see something on our page or somewhere on one of our sites that you'd like, that's not on the store, just message us and we'll get back to you and we'll let you know. I'll let you know if I'll build it for you or not. I might.
You know what? I'm not. Am I? Let's see. Is this right, or did I type something wrong? Let's see.
What's going on up here?
Let's see here. This may. Oh, I forgot one dot.
Oh,
There we go.
I can't even.
Well,
Uh-oh.
let's see here. Yeah.
So there's that. Anyway, just go to our Facebook page and there's everything was linked to that. So it's, unfortunately, hey, I mean, Facebook.
Yep.
Robo Zuckerberg.
Yeah, and that's and I'll pull that one up right quick. But definitely go, and if folks want to also watch more of your stuff, I know you had mentioned it just a little bit earlier. Where can they see what see your experiments and see your products in use and see you investigate?
Well, you can keep an eye on us on any of the sites that I've stumbled through. Mainly, the Facebook page is a good one to keep an eye on. But we do a lot of events, mostly in Missouri area, Kansas, Missouri area. But we do events all year long, and you can come out and see us. We also, let's see. So I'm trying to think of what thing I should say. Oh, we do have the network now, all the podcasters and stuff. So everybody needs to go watch those people. They're all good people. They're a bunch of good podcasts, except for Brandon's. Brandon's is terrible. It's the worst one on the page.
And we've had
So whatever you do not watch Shaman Sundays. Okay. do not go to Facebook, Supernatural Inc. on Facebook and watch Shaman Sundays on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Whatever you do, don't do that. I'm telling you, you'll never get that 2 hours back from your life. That's it.
And so people can watch those from the Supernatural Inc. Facebook page.
Yeah, yep, sure can.
Okay.
And I think YouTube also, Supernatural Inc. on YouTube. And you can come over and look at my stuff on YouTube. I'm the Paranormal Mad Scientist.
Perfect.
Yeah, so there's all that. I'm also on Instagram. I do a lot of stuff on there. I have a TikTok, I think, but I don't really use it that much because I don't know. It's just aggravating.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
I can't get into it, man. I don't know. It's like if I don't like to be on it, I don't like to post things on it.
Well, we're so inundated with different mediums to post stuff on that it's
Oh
just
yeah, it's no time for that. No time to do another one. So you're telling me I got to take this hour-long thing that I did, a video that I made that I broke down into the 2 30-minute videos and then into 4 15-minute videos for YouTube. And I got to break those down into 5-minute videos for Instagram. And I got to break those down.
yeah.
No, it might not be that way anymore. I don't know. That's about where I left off. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I'm even to the point. I love my Instagram, but I'm even to the point that that's painful to post on.
Yeah, I don't post as much as I used to. I used to post all the time on Instagram, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too busy. I think I realized at some point that like always have my phone in my hand there for a while, and I'm like, wow, what am I doing? I
Mhm.
can't do things. I can't, like I got to put my phone down. I can't scroll. You can't scroll and solder stuff at the same time. Turns out, you can't do this. So anybody who's mad at me for not being on Facebook or not answering your messages, don't be mad at me because it's not just you. It's literally everybody else also
Mhm.
as well.
I say the same thing. I get messages continuously when I'm not on there, and it's just like, it's not you. It's like, it's me. I don't respond to anybody anymore.
Not you, it's me. Heard that line before.
Right? And, let's see, got the link there, Deb, put that
Oh,
on
there we
there.
go. Deb, good job.
Thank
I
you,
guess,
Deb.
yeah, I should know
Um,
my own websites and stuff, but
hey. Well,
it is what it is.
what do you have coming up? You got
Well,
some
we got the thing
events?
in Deadwood.
Yep.
I'll be there for that. Let's see. We got, oh man. We do have an event coming up this coming weekend actually. And oh wow. There's a lot of places. So hold on, give me a second.
Mhm.
Malvern Manor. Malvern Manor. That's gonna be a good one.
Okay.
Austin's gonna be there with me for that one. That's actually his event, I think, or it was or something. But he invited me. So he's gonna stay at my house. So yeah.
Looks like what,
I'm
Mad Science
going
at
with him where he
Melbourne
likes
Manor?
it or not. Yeah, there's that. And what else? What else do we have there? I don't
Let's see.
know. I'm terrible.
Spirits and Paranormal Fair.
Oh yeah, that's in Overland Park, I think, Kansas. That'll be a fun little Paracon day thing, and you can listen to me ramble off at the mouth, for like an hour, 2 hours, I think total.
Hey, I got to say, I heard you give your presentation there at there in South Carolina at the Spirits at Haygood Mill. It was very interesting.
Thank
Really
you. Thank
enjoyed
you.
that. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
for sure.
Appreciate that.
And yeah, so if folks want to see the events you've got coming up, they're listed there on the Supernatural Inc. Facebook page. Malvern Manor, Haunting at the Villa.
Oh yeah, the Villa. God dang, I almost forgot about that one. The Villa. Sorry, Stephanie. Yeah, the Villa is another good one. That'll be good. That's in Atchison, Kansas, and you can even set up a little tour of the Sally House while you're up there. I won't be able to do the Sally House thing. I mean, I could, but I don't have any control over that. But I know there's people that do that, and we've had lots of people come up, and while they're doing the Villa, McIntyre Villa, they can, they'll go that same weekend and do the Sally House as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so definitely guys go on there, check that out. Check out Supernatural Inc.'s Facebook page. We've got all these links and stuff in the show notes. We've also got them spread throughout the comments section here. Thanks to Deb and Brandon and everyone that's put those links in there. So definitely appreciate that. And
thank you, Deb, not Brandon.
Katie, I appreciate you taking the time to come on tonight.
Oh yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, folks, definitely be on the lookout for all these great things that we've got going on. We've got the Deep South Paracomic-Con that's going to be coming up August 19th and 20th. We'll be having more information about that as it gets closer. And then also the Spirits of Deadwood, September 29th and 30th. And then later on, hopefully by next week, well, actually, definitely by next week, hopefully before, we will have information on the Ghost Biker Weekend that's going to take place in London, Kentucky. And then I know there's a couple other things that's going to be coming up in October. I think there's a big event that my business partner and I, Christy, are going to be part of there in at the Tennessee Fairgrounds there in Nashville that Eric Freeman Sims is putting on, and going to be a lot of folks from the Tennessee area there at that event, and then so much to really mention. Plus, Ghost Biker Exploration Season 6 coming out in October, and of course, it will air. I don't know why she has to stretch every time she comes by. Again, filming for Season 6 and coming out the first week in October, and it will be every Tuesday night during the month of October at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week, I'm going to have the lovely Miss Pamela Berry on the show. She's going to be coming on and talking about the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash that we were just at last week, and going to be talking about, I know the funds to that went to the Pennsylvania Wounded Warrior Program, and also the Heroes for Hire program, which creates lots of really cool things for children who have terminal illnesses or are unable to have their wishes fulfilled. So we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about different things that she's got going on with the 1912 Hoover House, and really just having a nice, great catch-up session. So you're going to want to tune in for that next Thursday night. If you're looking for something to do this weekend here at the jail, we do have some flashlight tours open. We have Paranormal Investigation Friday and Saturday night booked. We do have open tickets for this coming Sunday night here at the historic Scott County Jail, and then also at Historic Rugby. We're going to have a table set up there tomorrow and Saturday, letting folks know about our lantern tours, guided ghost hunts, and paranormal investigations that we hold at the historic village of Rugby. We do have tickets available for tours there on Friday and Saturday night. There will not be a tour on Sunday night because they have their Irish road bowling there. So anyways, check out
the love Irish road bowling.
Right.
Everybody.
Come out and do it. If you're not going to come out and take a tour, come out and go road bowling.
Right. I mean,
But
road bowling, ghost hunts, we can't beat that together.
right? Absolutely. So yeah, definitely check that out. You can go to historyhighwayshaunts.com or look under the historic Scott County Jail or historic Rugby After Dark to find out more information about all these great tours and some really cool and interesting events that we've got coming up for this fall. So again, thank you, KD, and thank you everyone here in the chat room for spending time with us tonight. You know, like I've been saying the last little bit, time is one of the most valuable things we have. And I can't tell you how much that I appreciate you guys spending that with us tonight. So until next week, hope everyone has a wonderful week. Good night, guys.
Peace.